Hello, and welcome to the Recreation Advisory Board meeting. It's November 16th, 2023. We have a quorum, so I'm here to call to order the meeting at 5:34 p.m. Our first item on the list today will be the approval of the agenda, and so now is our time to make some additions. I can go ahead and start with, we need to include in the new business the topic of recruitment of new members of the board, and then also considering positions for the next year, the fall in 2024. And just to, yes, so we'll keep that simple, but we'll add that into the new business. If anybody else has anything that they'd like to add. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a full slate right there. Could be.
I'll motion to approve these.
Okay.
The agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Great. So for the approval of the next item number 3, the approval of the minutes from October last month. If everybody had a chance to look them over, thank you for Annie for doing that. Now's the time. I felt pretty good, so if anybody has anything to add or they agree with it, let it be known. Okay, I'll go ahead and motion to approve the minutes for October.
I'll second them.
Yes, thank you very much. Oh no. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and start with new business, and we'll start with the community member insights. Did anybody have any for this month, or if not, I had a small one that I could add.
Just that I've heard that, yay, the playground next to the community center is, yeah, that's.
It does feel like a heroic Herculean effort to get it done.
And I have heard just kind of passively that on West Side Facebook page, just that the programming at Arts West, people have enjoyed that, the different
Awesome.
arts and crafts stuff that's been going on over there.
That's
so
great.
Yeah, nothing direct to me, but just kind of like the likes and the I want to do that feedback. So yeah.
Nice. The only thing I wanted to add was I was just, this time of year there's a lot of trees down on the trails, and I was hiking on a trail yesterday and someone had raked it clear of the leaves, so leaving the ground bare and nice. You could actually see, it's hard to tell which way the trails are going. And so I just wanted to share this because I've kind of gone through it just in my own figuring things out. But it's nice, but then when it rains, the trail will then stay wet, usually longer, because it's mainly just clay would be most that I would say would be there, and maybe some silt. When the leaves are there, if you beat them down, over time they become organic matter and they add to the trail, and they kind of act like a sponge. So when it rains, it'll help diffuse the water. Also, the leaves will kind of be a buffer too, so you can get onto the trails faster. So I just wanted to share that because of, not everybody would know. In fact, when I was trying to understand trail maintenance myself, I asked people, and it was like a no-no. In most cases, if there's not many people, it's okay, but I feel like it's better to leave them. So I raked them back.
Awesome.
And but yeah, that's
Where
But
was
that,
it?
that idea of trail maintenance, though, is really a specific skill. It's different than just basic, like, yard or lawn maintenance. So I wonder if that's a opportunity, someone at OU who's maybe majoring in, like, adventure rec or something like that has a specific interest in, like, the really kind of unique skill of maintaining a footpath trail versus, like, mountain biking or something that could
right.
help make sure that is consistent, like
Yeah.
the way that the trails, are treated at the change of seasons and stuff. So
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it is a pretty technical job, and I think it's interesting, and it's been interesting to learn. So
somebody out there has to want their senior project to
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, I think in a lot of ways, just kind of an education, like a awareness or education, goes a long way in that regard. But it's not a not a big deal because I'm just wanted to make a mention that I think that's kind of something that I've realized.
Yeah,
But
where was it? Was it Camp Rotan? Or somewhere else?
it was,
Yeah.
and actually,
We aren't doing anything to those trails.
yeah,
It's other users,
I
yeah,
figured
which is
it-
part of the education piece.
it's honestly somebody that probably thought they were doing a good thing.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
so I'm not trying to knock it. I'm just, and I've done it before. There's places like those steps that were just recently put in that have gravel. It's pretty steep there. If the leaves were removed there, that would actually be a benefit twofold. One, for the improved footing, but also they hold in the moisture, and so that wood would tend to rot quicker. So that is one place I do try to rake. There's an old dilapidated rake out there, and so I hit it. So I know where it is, and if you need to know, I can let you know.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So, okay. That was just what I wanted to mention. The next thing on the new business that I had was, and this could be brief, but this was in regard to, you had an email about Ohio students were interested in the riparian area and making a facility site plan. And I just was curious. I wasn't able to make that, but that area is of interest to me. Specifically, the control of the invasives. I'm just curious what actually is being controlled for, like what species and what methods are used. But that's another thing.
I haven't heard from them, so
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
how it went or what happened at that meeting. So I'm hoping I was at AMAC, so I couldn't be
Okay.
there for that one. But I will let you know as soon as I.
Yeah.
Hear back from them.
Okay. Well,
But-
something to keep on the radar then.
Yeah.
I guess I could have communicated.
No, I appreciate you
better.
putting it on the agenda, and I was hoping that I might have heard something, but that's okay too. It was a little. There wasn't a lot of opportunity to get the word out, so I'm hoping that they got a few people at least.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm definitely interested in that. I just didn't see it until it was too late for me to be able to be there.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Are those students continuing with that project? Like, is this
Yeah, so they are facilities management students in the Parks, Recreation, and Leisure Studies program, and they each have a facility of arts, parks, and recreation that they are doing different levels of like needs assessments. And some of them are getting to the point where they can reach out to community members, and others might not get to that point by the end of the semester. But the whole idea is that at the end, there is some sort of information that we can have for more facility specific recommendations that we can use to help us continue on the path of master planning, which is incredibly difficult to do whenever that's not your only job.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll get something at the end of the semester.
do they stay
definitely.
for next semester, or this is like just
It'll
their
be
project?
just this semester. But I did speak with the professor of that class yesterday, and he was, thinking since we're kind of learning through this process this semester of like, oh, well, maybe we'll do it it would be next fall, and just tweaking it some. And so there might be a way that we can I'll use what I learned in this process of working with them and the information and the guidance that I provide them. He's learning, and then maybe, hopefully, we'll be somewhere further along the line by next fall. But I believe there will be a way to loop them in again in that process. So.
All right. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
we'll be looking forward to hearing
Yeah.
information about that. That's exciting. All right, so our next topic, I would say, would be member recruitment. So right now we have 6 members, and come February, it'll be down one more. So to anybody that's watching out there, if you're interested in being a member, you're highly encouraged. So
How, I know I saw a Google survey, I think probably via Facebook, filled it out, but then there was also quite a bit of time between like when I filled out the survey and I think either you or Andrea reached out and asked if I was still interested. Is that still going to be our primary?
that's a good question.
Post to the community center Facebook saying
Yeah.
we're looking.
That, and we put it on the website,
Okay.
and but the easiest way that we push it out, regardless, is through Facebook and the City of Athens news and information. Facebook, like they would share it out, and then it would just kind of be. I think it did exist on the website last time
Yeah.
under the Recreation Advisory Board, so we can work on.
Would we
If
want
that's what you all want, then that's what we could work on our end of getting that set up.
would we want to do something like a press, not press release, but like I get the Athens
Yeah.
Indie email every Monday and they have like, the local news roundup. So something
Mm-hmm.
just like a line item, like, hey, there's going to be 2 vacancies, or there is a vacancy and there'll be 2 in February. Here's the link to follow to the Google
Yeah.
or the Parks and Rec website to fill out.
Yeah.
I think that sounds great.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know, like, in the past what like how much advertising was done or if we wanted to do more.
It's relatively recent. So in the past, it was more just ideas of people that might be interested, people that knew other people.
Okay.
I like how the direction that we've been going in. So I think, posting it like that, and especially online now, most people, but even maybe some other places too, because social media is good. That's not something that I'm on. So actually, let me take a step back. What I think that we should probably have happen is have a subcommittee or maybe 2 people or 3 even that want to be involved. If we go that route and we get recruitment like that, that way we could review the answers that they would have to questions that are pertaining to what we'd be doing.
And the process is that we then look at those and then send recommendations up to you first or direct to the mayor?
To mayor, yeah.
Okay.
Correct. And actually it's kind of nice because there might be people that were in that process before, because there's been a lot of people that were great, that would be great, I'm sure, and that were wanting to be on this board. And so like I envision it could create a pool of people.
Do we still have the folks from the last?
We should,
I don't know that information exists.
I think probably maybe for this time, since it's been some time since then, it might be good to push it out and just try to, and maybe those people would re-up.
You could always reach out to those people that weren't, because I know there was one round and that's how we got some of you, and then there were a couple months went by and then we went back to that pool, but it has been a long time since then. So, but you could always reach out to some of those people who were left and say, hey, if you're still interested and available, like this still works with your schedule, then they could just be added to the pool of applicants.
Yep. And like Daniel says, not everyone's on social media, so probably just a old school poster in the community
Yeah.
center specifically, right? If people are using that as a facility, they're probably
Yeah.
invested in.
Right.
And we can email our members, anyone who has an account,
Oh yeah.
send a mass email to as well. Can send out to neighborhood groups, like you could
Yes.
send out to
Yep.
your West Side groups.
Yeah. If there's a link to
Send out
like
to,
the Google survey or whatever,
I know
happy
that's
to-
still social media, but I know there's other ways. Like if I were to email Christy with FINA, then she would put it out other than Facebook to, the Far East Side Neighborhood Association. So,
I know that there's requirements based on where folks live, but it's not by neighborhood. It's by county. It's by county, right? So would we need to?
you all did revise that, so I think that would need to be. You should look at the application and see if that question is asked.
Yeah.
Because, and then just make sure that you know the makeup of the board of where everybody lives. I can't remember exactly now at this point, so then you know whether or not you can have somebody out in whatever the two things were that were acceptable. I'm not sure.
I
Like you
think
could
it was
have a
the
couple
city of
that were.
Athens, and then it was the county, right? Because
Right.
you
Yeah.
live in the plains, so you
Yeah.
were outside, and then the city.
Was there like a specific number? Was it like
Two?
I feel like
there
it
was,
was
I
two.
think it
Okay.
was two outside.
All right,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking in my head, but
so if two of us
yeah.
are in county, like are out of city
Out of
limits
city,
now,
but-
then we would have to make sure that we were clear that
Yeah.
the folks who
Had
fill
to
the seats
be
have to be
Athens.
within city.
So that might be something that y'all can determine before you even start putting out
Yeah.
specifically. And I have different garden group contacts too, so I could send out to them because then they could let their know.
And then I guess also just making it clear, like Daniel, your vacancy will be the end of a full term, so it would be starting
That's correct.
from like a full term, but Andrea's would be a
Yeah.
Partial.
partial, like
the
finish
first.
finish hers and then start too. So just to let people know that how long of a time commitment it is, just so we're just clear on that
Yeah,
too.
they'll get some extra time if someone's
Yeah,
in there.
that so if they are signing up, just that it might be for extended period of time.
Yeah. So the new bylaws, just to be clear, 7 members appointed by the mayor, the advice and consent of city council. All members of the board shall be residents of the county.
So okay, so that
Oh,
so there is
so
okay, so
there's
there's no
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which I
yeah, that means a much wider pool. Yeah,
makes sense.
That's
We need. I mean,
We serve
it's the
much more.
everybody.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So, I guess with that said, is anybody interested in taking that on? And no pressure, but I do believe this is something probably we'll need to work a little bit behind the scenes. Sooner the better to get some posts out.
I'm happy to help with recruitment, but I want to make sure I understand fully is that we'll be using a mix of initiatives, right? So Catherine Ann, you can send out an email, you can come up with the copy, and then we will just put it out to our networks and friends and different things.
Yeah,
Is-
I'm like writing my network
Perfect.
down here, right, too.
Perfect.
Like farmers market, the soccer,
Perfect.
like all those contacts that we have that we could just email out so that they can get out to their members or however. I think.
And
that
then you
would
can
be-
help with the application on the website. So then,
Yeah.
Daniel, just to confirm, you're asking for folks on our team to make sure that we're promoting it? Is that what you're looking for?
It's actually so yes and no. I mean that's part of it, but I feel like probably more it's reviewing.
Okay.
We will all have a discussion, but what had happened in the past was they were reviewed and then presented to
Okay.
the group.
Okay.
That it seemed to work pretty well that way. Probably a little bit more efficient as far as running the meeting, and that way we could have a idea coming in.
Okay.
So I think initially it probably wouldn't be a whole lot. I think getting the word out is important. I like having something at the community center or farmers market or places just where people actually are going to see it in real life.
Yeah, and then do we want to put a deadline? Because it sounds like we kind of have a deadline, right? Like in order to maintain a quorum, we need to have some new members come in by February.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say shoot for February. I mean, it'd be nice to have some applicants by December, or be in that process, and then
Right.
have an idea by January.
Right.
Honestly,
Yeah, and I know from teaching experience, if you put a deadline on it, people are more likely to be compelled to complete it as opposed to this open-ended, like, we're just looking. But if we say,
yeah,
get your survey in by January 1, and then that gives us also, as a group or a subcommittee, 2 weeks, almost like 2.5 weeks
Yeah.
to look over stuff and then present at the January meeting. These are like our finalists. So
okay,
maybe just putting that, even though it is kind of over the holidays, but putting that January 1
yeah.
on it.
I think that's a pretty good date.
Yeah.
Just it's a month and a half from now, and yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And then we shoot for by January to have an idea.
Have at that meeting maybe that we can.
And that would be deadlines are the great motivator. So I like
We could
that.
even say something like they do on the job app, right? Where like, for full consideration, apply by
Yeah.
January 1.
Yeah.
If stuff comes in after, we'll still, it's still there. But like that's the first pool is anyone by January 1.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's get on that, and
Yeah.
then, I don't know that we have to have a specific committee, but just maybe some key players that are gonna oversee it. Probably equally as important to that will be our next thing is the officers that we're gonna have. I think let's go back to the bylaws. Well, anyway, so it's kind of tricky because technically it's going to be January as the beginning of officers, which means that we should be figuring that out today if we're not going to have a meeting in December. However, I'm going to be here in January, but not February, so to me, it makes sense to break the bylaws and shoot and have February be our deadline.
Would we?
You could vote on it in January.
Yeah, that's Would we
that could be, like, the first
nominate
item.
or volunteer or whatever in like we can just like add that to like right now, just let's add that to January's agenda. The new business will be nominating / volunteering for the
Okay.
execs and voting on
You
that.
can have them the rest of the meeting.
Yeah, we could do a half and half. Right? Switch chairs, musical chairs for that.
Passing of the torch. Y'all gotta figure it out. Who wants to be who?
I think that makes sense too, anticipating that we would have we would have new members coming in February who maybe wouldn't be comfortable in an exec position right away, so we would just have that established in January, and then the new members would come in and be, get to know the ropes and be just kind of a part of an established group already.
Okay, so let's go back to the bylaws since this is relatively new and not even technically approved yet.
Thought we approved it with the changes.
Well, we did. Yes.
It's like, wait.
Let me restate. Not approved by city council. That's
Oh, okay.
that is the real approval. We were just the preliminary. So, officers of the City of Athens Recreation Advisory Board shall consist of the chairperson, the vice chairperson, secretary, and such other officers as the board may deem necessary. So, there's always the future to add. Election of officers. The chairperson shall notify the board members of the action to take nominations for election of officers during the November meeting, which I failed to do. So everybody out there, I was a big part in making these bylaws, and then here I am not following them. But as
They
I
haven't been approved.
they haven't
Yeah,
technically been yes. So election of officers will be conducted during the December meeting, where each office will be voted on by board members. So actually, let me step back. I am notifying you, and it is the November meeting, so yay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
fine.
I think that based on the situation, though, sounds like we'll figure out the December meeting. Sounds like probably I'm not, but because I would like for everybody that wants a chance to be an officer to have that ability. So, and that's fine. Once this is rolling, years down the road, the officer will have it so where the officers are beginning in January on the first. That'll make it nice. Okay. So the announcement is think about what in January, if that's when the next meeting is, we will have nominations and elections all in once. Okay.
Do you need to establish an ad hoc committee to begin the work of making sure the application says what it needs to say, then letting me know it's and then having those documents come in?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I can be a part of it. So,
I'm happy to join the ad hoc committee with you.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll
wanna be
to
a part?
review applications for
Yeah.
the new members.
Unless anybody else wanted to. Anne, you want to?
You're
Ash?
good. You're good.
I'm happy to review new applications. This I think also could happen mostly virtually, right? We would be getting applications via email. So yeah, if it doesn't have to be a physical meeting, I can definitely serve on that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to review applications as they come through my email.
I think I need the application link. I don't think it exists with me.
Does
Daniel, Andrea mentioned something about it, and I'll have to go back to the email to figure out where that link is for the application exists in the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, and once I think we have that, like everyone out, even outside the ad hoc, once we have that link, we can start spreading it via our various, and that can just happen kind of organically as, and or as we run into people who we think, hey, you should apply for this. Let me text you this link.
Yeah. Okay. So myself, Megan,
Yep.
Annie. No, we're all
We'll review.
equivalent. We're all the ad hoc. And I think with the application link, so let's find that and then probably just take a look over it, make sure it's probably pretty good for what we're wanting.
Yeah.
But
Make sure it says the county.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only change that would be needed.
okay.
I forgot to add something. Since we're talking about meetings.
Oh, into the meeting.
Yeah, I forgot
Okay.
to add it, but I mean, I had it in my updates, but I feel like it probably fits better here. Is that AMAC would like to have another joint meeting, and that would be in February or March.
Okay.
So I don't think that has to be decided, and it would be during AMAC's meeting time, which is the second Wednesday of the month.
Well, it sounds like March, would
March,
be
I was
better.
going to say. If,
Yeah.
February.
if we're voting new officers January and reaching out to possible new members who would then start in February, probably March would be the best time to collaborate with Amy.
So that would be if that's something that y'all want to do, I'd say the chair would then reach out to the AMAC chair and say, and then let me know so I can make sure we get a room facility big enough
For everybody.
for all
Can-
of us.
And that plan was to be a bi-yearly,
I think it was going to be biannual, yeah, twice a year.
biannual, sorry, yes.
So.
And-
But that's okay.
Yeah, no,
Annual is better than what we have been doing, so
correct.
it will be the second annual.
All right, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I can,
Forgot to add that to the agenda.
yeah, no, that's great. I'll reach out now or soon, and we'll say March. I
March.
think definitely
Yeah.
we're gonna have a good full meeting on.
Yeah.
Well, I won't be here. February. I can be if I need
Yeah,
to.
you can become a citizen
can
observer.
be-
You sure can.
I can be
open.
a non-voting member, I suppose. So, if I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that want to be on the board though, and I don't want to prevent that either. But I could always sit out there. There's nobody ever sits out there.
I know.
We're all online.
Yeah, if you're online and you want to come, it's fun in
There's
here.
lots of seats, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So we have our ad hoc committee. January 1st is our application. We're going to find the application link, spread the word. That should be ample time. And then for the officers, we will, in our next meeting, which will likely be January, we will nominate officers. We'll come to the meeting with an eye in mind, or if you want to, I don't see why you couldn't just email us all if anybody's interested. Take the reins. Everybody here's been on this committee enough. I think that you would all do a great job and you have a good understanding what we're trying to do. I think when there's new members, it's always kind of nice for them to just be a member and add what they can.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, then I think we're set with the new business. We can go to the continuing business. We didn't go over this in the approval of the agenda, but this is just all kind of what had been on last time. So if we need to not.
The only thing I have an update on is just the Richland Avenue Park Inclusive Playground. I have finally more of a set design that includes a communication board, and we're getting a quote on concrete access to the playground once it's installed. And I can't even remember where I was in that process at the last meeting, but just as an overview, we're going to extend the there will be concrete. We're going to extend the pea gravel digger area. There's like 2 diggers already, and we're going to extend it to the path, and there'll be a little concrete pad and an accessible digger in there. And then the playground area itself will have swings, a bench, the cozy dome, the Weesaw, dino climber to keep with the dinosaur thing, because that's very important. It is. Though we call it the alligator park, but alligators are also technically dinosaurs, apparently. So, and I feel like, and some panels, like musical panels, art panels, and I feel like there was something else. A little they call it a digi rider. I don't know why, but it's a little riding thing on a coil. Kids can bounce back and forth, or adults. So that's exciting. We are on track. I will get the grant application in time, and then I kind of confirmed my dates of when I'll start asking for appropriations for the playground project. That'll start in January, so that will be in place to order in March, and hopefully we'll have grant funds awarded, but if not, we'll order in March, and that it would be installed in the fall of 2024, barring anything insane, which the world can be insane. So that's the what we're working with. So we are excited about that. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we are very excited.
Can you tell me a little bit about the art panels? I was just curious.
No, not off the top of
Okay,
my head.
no problem.
Those were
Another time.
those panels I've looked at so long ago. It feels like at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's something with tracing.
No, it's fine. Okay.
I think that's the only of those things.
That's great. Yeah. I think that covered pretty much everything other than the master plan.
Which I guess we may have to reform the ad hoc committee
Yeah.
at probably in February, since 2 of the 3 of us are heading out. So that would, I guess, probably just be forming a new ad hoc would just be an agenda item to remember to add.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, that's something probably we should try to get happen quicker than, or I don't know. I mean, I feel like if any of you that weren't on it and are interested, that's an opportunity. Otherwise, we'd be relying on.
Yeah. Well, I guess just to keep on everyone's radar, we
Yeah.
can wait to offer it until we have a couple new members who might want, feel strongly, really want to participate in that. But also, just there's going to be some vacancies. So,
So in the meantime, maybe we should have some communication or something that we can do in order to progress it. And I don't know what that would
Do you
be.
ha-
Do
do
you
you
have
have
any
any
guidance
updates?
on that?
I feel like once I get information from what the student work is, then it might be okay. Now we can meet and just talk about the information we have. What are we still missing? And I think that would be probably the best
okay,
course of action.
Okay.
we can table it till we have.
So once I get that, I can reach out to
Sounds
you and
good.
Megan and
Yeah. Yeah, if whatever we can do until that time.
Yep.
For sure. So, all right. Well, without further ado, I think we're ready for the APR updates.
woo. Well, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our budget. So it started going through council, the city's budget for 2024. That started going through on Monday with its reading with the finance committee, and we across the board, and I think just as if you're a private citizen and you're around, you'll see signs up at restaurants we're having to increase our prices. Everybody knows that things are getting more expensive. I feel like at this point in our lives that everybody knows this. Things are a lot different now than they used to be a few years ago. So expenses are rising like pretty dramatically in our world, and we've been trying to offset those expenses by, drawing on 273 funds, which is that income tax levy, and anyways, basically our income tax revenue and our general revenue is not keeping up with our expenses, which is unfortunate. And we are such a large service to the community, and a lot of our services are free or reduced cost. And so we're having to kind of rethink what we do, how we charge, what we charge for, trying to get creative on other sources of revenue. Grants obviously or something, but that's not something that you can, always count on. But we're thinking through different ways we can seek sponsorships, maybe like support arts, parks, and recreation campaigns. And so that's just something that you're going to see more of and start seeing more of. And so I wanted to let you all know because, I was asked to reduce my budget ask from what we had originally talked about and thought we could do. The city, from city administration side, mayor and our service safety director have asked council to increase the amount of income tax that we get, which they did that last year. So we got more than we had the previous year. And now they're asking again, To increase that, and councils definitely seems receptive, but it takes away from another department in the city, so we can't just always rely on the income tax to be that buffer. So we also have to increase our revenue, which we are our general revenue from fees, and we are definitely increasing our if you look at our general revenue that we're bringing in, we are making more than we did last year. The same thing between 2022 and 23, between 21 and 2022, we brought in more. So we're definitely increasing, and we're hitting 2019 numbers as far as revenue, which is really exciting because those were the golden years, it sounds like, whenever folks who have been here were oh, that was the year that we were really taking off, and then COVID hit. But since our costs are getting so much more, then it doesn't quite even out. So we're
Catherine,
trying to get through. Yeah.
does the revenue generation piece fall on you, or who's going to be responsible for that?
I mean, my team, we,
Okay.
we had a good meeting last week, to start thinking through different ideas and ways, so it's not such a burden on, we're not gonna only make members pay more, or
Yeah.
whatever that looks like, trying to figure out different ways. So if anybody has any ideas of things that we could do, that could kind of help offset the costs without being too much of a burden on our community, then that's also something that we're open to. But also just generally asking for support from the boards that I work with, of whenever you're interacting with community members and they're asking, well, if people are asking, why am I seeing more ads potentially, or why are they all of a sudden doing this, or why does this cost more now? It's because we really can't exist without doing it. We can't provide this level of service to our community without doing it. So.
And when you said sponsorship, does that mean you're reaching out to corporate or private avenues for sponsorship of whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we will start doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it's the not so fun, but also it's our reality, and it's something that we have to do. So.
I've seen in other locations really positive, good things come from that kind of sponsorship. Where I mean, yeah, the branding is there and the logos are there, but the end result is some really quality parks and some really quality events that end up benefiting the community, and the higher turnout and the higher repeat. Right? It's so yeah, it maybe doesn't. Not glamorous maybe, but I think it gets the job done.
I think it's going to be a different feel if we can do this successfully.
Yeah,
we don't have ads in the community center, but if we can get some people to pay for some banners up there, we're going to be doing it. So obviously
there are
things that kind of make sense.
Yeah,
too.
there are meaningful partnerships you can connect with.
So yeah. But if any of you all have any ideas, then we are all ears. But I think we're all on board, and we're hiring a full-time person. So we're still growing, and I think that's really important for us to highlight, is that we are supported as a city department. But in order to continue and have that longevity, we really have to change some of the things that we do.
I like sponsorship down at the ball fields. That was always something that had happened, but they were semi-permanent, and I thought maybe, what about the idea of having that be more revolving?
That goes to Sandlot, right?
Yeah, that's Sandlot down
So
there.
if you
That all goes to
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's ways that I'd have to rework with Sandlot our agreement, which is fine.
But the city doesn't get any of that sponsorship money.
No.
But it's on the city fences.
Yeah, but they put in, Sandlot. They put in $10,000 to $15,000 a year into maintaining our spaces. So in a way, we get it. We get something from that.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily revenue, so it doesn't show us that, but it's something that we don't have to do. So then it's not an expense.
Yeah. Maybe there's other places where could be something like that could happen. I don't
I
know.
think so. Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of neat in the ball field sense though, because it's like the old style how they'd have ads
Yeah.
on the fence,
Yeah.
you know. So that's not one where I would be like, oh, there's another
Right.
ad, you know.
Right. You would expect it in some places, and then other places that might be a little more like glaring.
Yeah.
If we're able to pull this off successfully, so just add that to the list of the things that we're doing.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about that before I move on?
No.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, I already gave a Richland Avenue playground. It sounds like our fitness court, I just heard back, and they will probably be shipping the materials in the next few weeks, which we're gonna have to store until we can get the concrete slab installed, and that's gonna be over again by the new fire station headquarters. So that's really exciting. I mean, we might have something up hopefully in the spring, a new outdoor fitness court, which will be really, really cool for the community. Our skate park repairs, I finally got all the paperwork in for our reimbursement, so we can close that grant, and we got the reimbursement. Woohoo! That was pretty exciting, which means that I can then apply for the grant again this coming year. So that's a nice one to apply for because it's you're only competing against county applicants, so you never know who's going to apply in any given year, but it definitely is. It's a state funding, but it's only county applicants, so that's nice. I like that one. And I know how to do it now, so it feels less big and challenging. The Sells Park muck removal, so we've opened that up for community members to take, and we have staff on site. We had staff on site last Wednesday. Oh, I totally said Wednesday, Friday, silly me. November 15th, the 17th, 29th, and December 1st from 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. To help with some of that removal. And then folks can go before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m. on weekends. And we're just going to kind of readjust or add more dates where staff can be on site to support as necessary. But we also are going to take a couple dump loads to some of the community gardens as well. So there's still some muck that is very wet, so it's not 100% all ready to go, but we're trying to start moving it out there. And we've tried to get the information out to community members. So then the community center playground repairs, we finally got all that in place, but during the whole waiting and multiple tents of installation and having to reorder parts, which we didn't have to pay for, the extra, a handle broke. It's called a D-ring, but it's basically a handle broke off. So now there's still a piece on the a section of the community center playground where it's blocked off. You can use the monkey bars, but you can't get on the platform from the monkey bars basically until we get the D-rings in and install them. That's just the not so fun piece of those aging equipment, but we can only replace so many playgrounds at once. So we're gonna make this one last a few more years, and we dug out a bunch of the roots, and the roots, for those of you who aren't familiar, really create a big problem. I mean, they're like knobs like this that come up out of the ground. So we got a little mini excavator for the day, and my staff ripped them out and then mulched them, so we should be good to go for hopefully a couple more years without having to do that again. There were a lot of roots. And let's see, we've been having department happenings. We've been kind of problem solving the revenue issue. We've come up with a couple events that we want to do. One that we've got solidified today, we're going to call it the Fam Jam. That was a fun naming idea I got from Holly on AMAC. But we wanted to do like a dance party, like a family dance party. So she suggested Fam Jam. So that's going to be January 20th from 4 to 6 p.m. We're going to have Rock and Reggie, of course, because he's awesome. And then we'll have fun activities and whatnot with it. But we're going to treat that as a ticketed event to try to, again, be that kind of like fundraising opportunity for our community center. And then we're going to have another one in February, but we haven't figured out the details of it But
With ticketed
Yeah.
events, I don't know if anyone had thrown this out there, but it could also be on a sliding scale where,
we have different, like, we haven't come up with the pricing, but
Okay.
thinking of like families of like, okay, if it's going to be, 2 tickets for the price of this, 3 tickets for the
Sure.
price of this, 4 tickets for the price of this, so trying to figure out how to adjust for that.
yeah.
But that's a good idea too. Yeah. And I have on here planning for the revision of duties among staff beginning in 2024. So we are, and I think it was just posted this afternoon, hiring a full-time program specialist for child programming and education. And so in the past, we did have 3 program specialists. So now this will put us back at 3 program specialists, which will be really, really nice. But that means I had to do some maneuvering around of job duties. So our program specialist, who's currently working on childcare stuff, is our Parks and Recreation program specialist. So she's going to shift to what we really wanted her to do in the beginning, but then childcare took over, of more of the outdoor recreation, and she's going to actually take on aquatics as well, management. And then so we're going to kind of be doing some heavy lifting and training and shifting around in 2024 with our staff. All good things, but there will definitely be some maneuvering around of duties. And then we are going to be working on passing over the pump room control, like repairs and troubleshooting and more technical things, over to the water treatment plant duties. So that's another way that we're going to kind of increase our efficiencies and ability to be effective. Because right now it's like me and the facilities crew that are in there most days, whenever it's operating. So that kind of takes us away from being able to do other things. All right. We had our second annual Halloween event, and that was we had really great attendance. If anybody was out there, despite the weather definitely was trying to spoil the mood, but there were so many people. It was really awesome. It felt really good to have that. We've had a lot of classes, like we've had jewelry making, we've had paint a mug. Upcoming, we have cookie decorating, and then a new one that our program specialist for arts programming and education, he just showed me the flyer yesterday. It's a thrift shop paint over. So it's this like TikTok trend or whatever that it like started on, but you basically take a painting that exists and then you add your own twist to it. So it can be funny, or it can be whatever. So we're going to be posting that soon, and we're going to have the option of, that we'll have some paintings that you can pay the $30 if you want us to provide you a painting for you to paint over, or $20 if you want to bring your own. So we'll be doing that soon, so keep a lookout for something fun and quirky like that. Futsal registration is open, and I think they're almost full, and that's going to start the week after, the 28th. Youth futsal, basketball registration will open up in a couple weeks, and then of course we have like our open gym, and we also have futsal rentals that are happening. So we're starting to shift indoors, and it's getting more busy in the gym area, which is great. We've got our regular childcare programming going on, the Wee Wigglers, before and after care, and pre-K. We're still looking for more pre-K kiddos if anybody knows anybody. We'll have our winter program guide coming out soon, so that'll help you with fitness planning. And then we've got recreation collaborations. We're still working with adult soccer and Athens, Ohio soccer organization. And then I put you, Ash, on there, the coaching education collaboration. So we're going to do a sports sampler in January, February-ish, sometime in there. And the idea is that I don't want to butcher it. Ash, will you tell the idea?
Yeah, so basically we got a $2,000 grant to educate kind of volunteer coaches. So to do that, we need to get some footage to create some coaching education videos. So ultimately, we've created a multi-sport program through kind of the Athens Parks and Recreation Centre, where we can go in and deliver kind of sampler sessions to children, age range between kind of like 6 to 11, and give them a really good experience, and then take some kind of footage, show some best practice, and then ultimately create, and this is what the grant's gone towards, is a videographer to create some cool, hopefully fun coaching education videos related to planning, delivery and evaluation, and then be able to send it out to volunteer coaches, live on our website, live on a YouTube page, in order for coaches to be educated, and ultimately volunteer coaches that might not have experience in coaching young children have a little bit of a starter for 10 about kind of what best practices there are. So hopefully it'll be a good project for us, and hopefully it'll go well with the free sampler for the children that sign up, and we're able to kind of get some good footage.
Great, cool.
Yeah.
That's
Very
great.
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. In Arts West world, we've been pretty full this November with different rehearsals and performances. We have different theater groups who've been using the space. We're getting the musical lending library up and going. I think actually he's going to work with the Athens High School. So what's it called? It's a day where the Athens High School. It is. Let's see if I can read my terrible handwriting. Make a Difference Day.
Senior Make a Difference
Yeah,
Day.
yeah. There we go. And whew, they're going to be over at Arts West helping out there, which is awesome, tomorrow. And we definitely have a variety of rentals. There's going to be like mini moons over the weekend. So that's where they come in and they sell different wares from their international travels. And we did get a new gallery installed at the community center, and it's the community food initiatives. They have their Sprouts program. I think it's Rural Action too, in the elementary schools in the county. And so they have images of the kids in the program, and I love it so much in the hallway, because it's like that's the kid hallway, and then there's all these like kids doing beautiful things in the hallway. So that's fun. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. And then we got our new agility equipment for the East Dog Park. It's a A-frame teeter-totter. I forget what they call it. Corgi climber is what it's called. Like that means anything to you all, but we'll get that installed soon. So we have that, and then that'll be a nice addition to the dog park. Our weighted nets for the tennis courts have arrived. We did get one put together and installed, but the other one was missing pieces, of course. But we have heard back from the manufacturer, and they are shipping the missing pieces. So hopefully that doesn't take 8 to 12 weeks. But everything is 8 to 12 weeks or more. I don't really have any other updates on those. We did have a tree planting in the riparian area November 4th. And that's been a really great collaboration with Jen Bowman at the OU Voinovich School, and she applies for grants, and she pays for the tree, or that grant pays for the trees. She organizes volunteers. She gets it planted. It's really awesome. This was our second year doing this, and so we're planning on, hopefully she'll get grant funds again. She's writing the grant right now to do a third planting there next November. And then still working on the West State Street restroom facilities. And here we go. Yeah, we have some Camp Rotan items on the agenda for 2024. I am working with a graduate student, and she had her proposal this week, and it sounds like I love what's going to happen is basically we're going to revamp the signage there. So there was already a sort of interpretive tour, if you will, signs with numbers that were assigned to like different plants, and a little bit about the ecology in that area. And so she's going to update that, and she's also going to assess the site for sustainable camping practices and provide us with recommendations so that we can then carry forward with those and then open it up to camping in the future, which is something that we would like to do. So that's great being able to rely on other people to help do some of the thinking while we're doing other things. And yeah, I think those were kind of the main new things that have been happening, or updates to everything that's been happening.
All right. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Right. Well, that just leaves us with the next meeting, which
Do we want to collectively decide we're not having the December?
Yes, we
I
want to
mean,
do that.
I
it
will
is
not.
the solstice.
Yeah, I will for sure. I will. Solstice. I mean, that's not the reason I'm leaving, but it's a happy accident. But I will not be in town
Okay.
the 21st, and I'm seeing like some nodding.
Yeah, let's shoot
folks
for.
that-
I think once it gets to that time, we'll be like, wow, we're
Wow,
slammed.
right? Yeah, I think even if you're staying in town, I believe that's the last day of school for Athens
Sure is.
City School, so which is a party day, anyways.
Yeah,
So
that'll be fun.
do we want to just
Let's shoot for January 18th,
18th?
2024.
Yep.
Right here at
Hard to
5:30.
believe it's already here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. That sounds good. If anybody else has anything, I'm pretty much done.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Yes.
I'll second it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, woohoo!